Hey guys, welcome back. We're on episode 16. I'm Ralph.
And I'm Ron.
Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Like I always say, if you haven't liked our page or liked the YouTube page, check it out and show us some love.
We've had over 10,000 views in, I guess, the first 15 weeks. So thanks to everyone for that.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting to hit the 10,000 view mark. That was pretty cool.
On YouTube.
Yeah, and it seems like the older videos are still get more and more views. You know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of guys didn't catch them off the bat, and they're going back and catching up, or starting at the beginning and slowly getting caught up. So,
right. And
I forgot to mention last week on the show when I was at Mid-America at Rogers race, the Yuska Nats, 2 weeks ago. We had two viewers come by and make sure I was making dust and not smoke when I was chewing my tires. So.
Oh, they watched. Oh, they listened to the episode.
Yeah. So
speaking of Mid-America, we have a few prize packs donated by Roger at Mid-America. We're going to give those away later on the show.
Yep.
So stay tuned in for that.
To two lucky viewers.
Yep. I'm not going to tell you what's in them just yet. We'll make you wait.
Yep. Suspense.
All right. Well, you want to get started with the
race results?
Race results. I know everyone's waiting to hear and see if their name is called this week or not.
Okay. We got a lot to talk about, or a lot of
race results.
A lot of race results. There was more races last weekend than we originally announced, but anyway, the Gator Retro Racing group down in Florida, they had a race at Race Pace in Holly Hill, Florida. The stock car winner was Jeff Bonanno. Doc Doherty was second, and Tony P. was third. In the Can-Am race, Terry Tawney was the winner. Doc was second, and Jeff was third. And then in F1, Jeff was your winner, and Doc was second. And somebody named D was third. I don't know who that D was, but that's all I seen.
D was?
Yeah, that's all I seen on the race.
Okay.
Picture was posted. So
okay.
Doc definitely had the runner-up position nailed all weekend. So Jeff won two, and Doc was second in all three, and Terry Tawney snuck in there. So the Mid-American Hard Body Series was at Chicagoland. That was the first race of their 2017-18 series. Super Stock was won by J.P. Milcherska. Rick Stagan was second, Brian Meharry third. And then they ran Pony Stock, I believe, on the King track. Austin Milcherska was your winner, followed by John Miller, and J.P. Milcherska was third.
Okay.
Last Sunday, Penn Jersey was at Trains and Lanes in Easton, Pennsylvania. And as far as I know, I think they ran everything on the King track there. In the Cup class, Jerry Herbert Jr. was your winner. Randy Core was second, and Wes Kunis was third. And then in Xfinity, Mike Isles was the winner, followed by Joe M. and Matt Bruce. And they just both are 4-inch
right
classes. I don't know if I think they run different motors and different bodies, but
right.
Okay. So then the Rebel Series was at Concord, and they ran 5 races. In NASCAR, which would be their 4-inch class, Walker McNulty was the winner. Charlie Roebuck was second. Wayne Little was third. And then they ran trucks, maybe not in this order, but trucks. Wayne Little was first, Walker second, Timmy Bottoms third. LMP, Wayne was your winner again. Walker was second, and Charlie Roebuck was third. And that was the same finishing position in the dirt late model race. And then they ran Group F wing car race. Walker was your winner. Timmy was second, and Shelly McNulty was third. So Wayne won 3 out of the 4. I don't know if he raced Group F or not. So good job to Wayne Little. The AWRA, the American Womp Racing Association, was at Thunder Road Raceway in Virginia. Stock car class was won by Charles Eldridge. Bobby Prout, that's a name from the past for me, he was second, and Billy Smith was third. The sportsman class, Bobby Prout was the winner, Billy Smith second, and Joe Shiflett was third. And then in Legends, Joe Shiflett was your winner, followed by Josh Henderson and Charles Eldridge. The NERR, New England Retro Racing Association, was at Agawam, Massachusetts. Coops was won by Vinny Cafazzo, Keith Libby second, Chris Davis third. Can-Am, Vinny won again, Keith was second again, and Woody Hazelwood was third. And then in Florida, they also had so the GUR race was on Saturday and the Florida Slot Car Series race was on Sunday, or maybe I've got them backwards. But
it was a combo weekend anyway.
Okay. No, because they raced Retro over at Race Place, and then they raced.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Then they raced at P1 in Winter Gardens, Florida. So in the JK IndyCar class in Group 1, Dennis DeMol. Is it Dennis DeMol? Did we get that right? You were down there 2 weeks ago.
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay, Dennis DeMol was the winner. Ken Green was second. Jeff Bonanno was third. In Group 2, Tim Yowzy was the winner. Ralph Josie was second, and Roland Isbell was third. NASCAR, Group 1, Marcus Ramos, winner. Dale King second, Jeff Bonanno third. Group 2, Roland Isbell, winner. Tim Yowzy second, and Don Bonanno, Jeff's dad, was third. And then in LMP, Group 1 was won by Dale King, Dennis DeMol second, Marcus was third. In Group 2, Roland won again with Tim Yowzy second and Don Bonanno third again. So, yeah, you had the same top three in the Group 2 class in both NASCAR and LMP. So, and then we go to Slot Shots down in Stanley, North Carolina. They had what they call their race to the finish, which that was a combo race where they ran GTP cars on both the oval and the road course. And the oval portion, Bobby Beachman was your winner, Russ Martin second, and Don Gunn was third. And then in the road course portion, Russ Martin won, Don Gunn was second, and Shane Parent was third. So in the overall finish, it was Russ was the overall winner with 581 laps. Bobby was second with 578, and Don was third with 569 laps. So
GTP cars on an oval. Wow.
I did that one time like a year or so ago.
I bet they.
It was fun. Oh yeah, it's fast and furious. I mean, it's wow. And it would depend on the oval you're on too. I mean,
yeah. Well, that oval at Stanley is a pretty big oval comparatively.
Right. And we ran them on a very short oval, tri-oval.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were some moments. Wow. Okay. Wing cars. The Northeast USRA ran at Port Jeff Raceway. One motor 12. Chubby was the winner. Paul Kovich second. George Blaha was third. One motor 15. Keith Keeler was your winner. Doug Bauer second, and Paul Kovich third. And then 27 light, Chubby was the winner. Doug Bauer was second, and Evan Petrakis was third. Then we go to Penn, Ohio Retro, which was at Washington, PA on the old UK black track, which is a flat track. Can-Am Steve Kep was your winner. Steve Plosnick was second. Greg Mayer was third. F1 was won by Ricky Bernardo Jr. Steve Plosnick was second, and Greg Mayer was third again. And then stock car, Steve Plosnick turned the tables and won. Steve Kep was second, and Greg Mayer was third. And then the CIS series, the Central Illinois Slot Series, they were at Route 66 in Elkhart, Illinois. Now, this is where you run GTP on the oval track, okay? B&E Hard Body, Kurt Vincent was the winner. Dan Van Horn second, and JR was third. In the CIS Pony Stock Expert, Toby Kindig was your winner. Dave Guyman was second. Ed Riddle third. In the CIS Amateur Pony Stock, Mark Miller was the winner. Randy Lynn second. Jason Plummer third. Now here's a new one. I guess they probably ran the Retro Can-Am on the oval too. That would have been fun. Toby Kindig was the winner. Kurt Vincent was second. Dan Van Horn third. Dirt late model, Toby won again with Kurt second and Randy Lynn third. And then GTP, Toby made it 3 in a row with another win. Dan Van Horn second, Randy Lynn third.
Okay.
Sorry I missed the fun. I wish I'd have been there racing that stuff on the oval, but hey. So now we're going to go out to California, Motown Raceway in Modesto, California, and I got to thank Michael Colvin for sending in this race report because I really didn't even know they were having a race. But it was a 2-hour enduro, two-man teams with 4.5-inch dirt late model cars. The winning team was Justin Colvin and Chris Dre. Second place team was Ken Keys and Rob Gaines, and third place was Garrett Northcutt and John, I'm going to say Merle, was the other driver on the third place team. And then also, they were doing a lot of racing in NorCal last weekend too, because they had NorCal Retro at Fast Tracks in Rockland, California. Can-Am was won by Jim Fowler, Justin Colvin second, Herman James was third. In the Pro Coupe race, Herman James was the winner, Jim Fowler second, and Cliff Gaither was third. F1, Justin Colvin won with Richard Matthews second and Buddy Matthews in third.
Okay.
And then a race report from a couple weeks ago. The Ohio Oval Series raced at CF Raceway in Fremont. IndyCar was won by Elmo with Keith Nelson second, Dennis Murray third. 4-inch stock car was James Pace Jr. winning with Elmo second and Keith Nelson third. And then 4.5-inch, Elmo won again with Kirby McLennan in second and Keith in third again. So BRS was at Fast Tracks in Fremont. I was there. Can-Am, I was the winner with Bud Bardo second, Gil Padaky third, and then F1 I won again, and Bud was second again, and Kit Henry snuck in there and got third. So I got to give a shout out to Kit because
yeah, it's a good run for him.
Kit had a really good car, and he drove really good, and I mean it was kind of, I mean he was third by one lap over Craig Scharfenberg, who was fourth, who was one lap ahead of Mark Piccone, who was fifth. So those guys were real close. But, yeah, I mean, Kit was rocking and rolling. So it was good to see Kit run good. So NorCal, again, USRA, Slot Car Raceway in Roanoke Park, California. Group F was won by Vegas with Paul Goronsky second, Jason Hooper third, so there's two scale racers.
Right.
They also ran 27 light. And the only thing I seen there was Jason Hooper was the winner. So don't know who was second or third. And then they ran GT12. Paul Goronsky won with Ryan McDaniel second, Chris Crofts third. And then, Euro 24th, Paul Goronsky won. Jason Hooper was second, and Jeff Garrison was third. And that's a name I never really heard of before. So, and then they raced retro cars in Tokyo, Japan at Cheerio Speedway, which is owned by Haruki. Stock car, Tibu was the winner. Yuji was second. Kamo was third. Can-Am, it was Yuji winning with Kamo second and Haruki third. And then in the GTC class, Kacho was the winner, Tevu was second, and Haruki was third. And then it was the second weekend of the Turkey Nats at TriState Raceway in Middletown, Ohio, and they ran index cars. And the 1190 class, Luther was your winner with Carson as the runner-up. In the 1090 class, Luther was your winner again with Andrea, the runner-up. And 990 index, Carson was the winner with Daryl second. Sorry I don't have last names, but they weren't in the race information I found. So, believe it or not, I'm done with race.
But wait, there's more.
Buy now and get two.
Yeah. So a couple things that were announced this week. There were some a couple tracks announced opening up.
Yep.
One of them is in LaSalle, Colorado, and that's going to be owned by Matt Sheldon, and it is called Duffy's Slot Car Raceway.
Cool.
And Matt has an original American King track, He also has an Ogilvy hill climb and a 1,000-foot drag strip. I heard rumors he may or may not also be getting an original American Orange. I don't know for sure about that.
Okay.
The second one is in Lanesboro, Massachusetts, and it's called Action Attraction.
That's in the shopping mall, right?
Yep, it's in a mall, and they have a 155-foot king track in there. I'm not sure who built it. I don't know where that track actually came from.
Right.
And then the third one, I believe it was announced that Mark Green is going to open a raceway again, also in Pennsylvania, right?
Right. Well, Mick Brown suggested somewhere on Facebook that we have a new segment called In the Mailbox.
In the mailbox, yeah.
In the mailbox, where people can, and we've told people this in the past, but you can always message us with questions or information. And so in my mailbox this week or Friday night was a message from Mark that he was acquiring the king track that was at Mimi's, which is girding, don't hold me to this, girding 7 or something. I don't remember what girding number.
I thought it was 9.
Okay, maybe 9. And then he's also picking up an oval somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, he's going to have Mimi's old king track, and he's going to have it redone, and he's going to have an oval track. And he mentioned he was going to bring back the Dirt Oval Series, which would be an oval series, I guess. And
will they throw dirt on the track?
I don't know about that, but if you leave it sit for a few days, I'm sure it'll have dust on it. But so Mark Green's going to be opening a raceway again. This will be his second raceway, I think. And it'll be in Pennsylvania. I don't know where or when. We'll keep you posted, but that's what I know about that one.
Okay. And I think I also saw Tracy Brown has his drag strip for sale.
Yep.
Looks like he's advertising it as a turnkey operation with drag strip, power supply, computers, and
I think inventory.
Inventory, yeah. I don't know what the asking price is on it, but it'd be interesting to see what goes in that space next.
My bet is on an oval track.
Yeah, knowing Tracy, it's not going to sit there empty.
No.
So. And, he just has so many drag strips close to him. I mean, I imagine it was probably pretty hard to get a drag program going. That place is so beautiful, though.
Well, if you got, let's say, okay, I think there's five drag strips down there within an hour and a half of one another. And, if everybody's trying to do a program on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right. There's just so many people and too many places to race. Yeah.
So you got, 3 tracks, 3 tracks agree to do a Friday and a Saturday and Sunday and not step on each other's toes. The other 2 tracks are going to have to step on toes, scheduling their weekly programs. So, and then, in drag racing, they, if you're not paying a certain percentage back, guys won't race and, blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah.
But like you said, I don't think that room's going to sit empty. So
I would guess not, no.
Stay tuned. Maybe Tracy will be in the mailbox next week telling us what's going on or something.
Maybe so, yeah.
You never know. You listening, Tracy? So, what else do we know?
That's about all I know. This is a pretty quiet week this week with Thanksgiving coming up and everything. So,
yep. Everybody's talking turkey.
Yeah, I don't have much new really. I saw you ran the new HP Godflag again.
Yep, second time I've raced it. I ran it on my Can-Am car. Well, it was on my Can-Am car from the week before, and I didn't change it. So, I didn't try any other guides, but I tied the lap record on the track for the race. The track was in really good condition, really good shape. I really didn't hit anybody hard that I can remember. I was already asked that question. Did you crash test the guide flag? And no, I really did. It was a pretty clean race for me. I think it was a pretty clean race for everybody. But in F1, I definitely would have crash tested because I hit 2 or 3 cars pretty hard on the bridge a couple of times. And but I didn't have one for my F1 car, so. But yeah, I mean the guide worked fine. And
Well, you've been racing a long time. I mean, how many guide flags have you seen come out since you started racing? Can you even count?
Well, yeah. There's been a lot. I mean, when I started racing, pretty much everybody ran a jet guide. So,
Right.
If we back up a little bit before the jet guide, which came out by Associated, Cox had a guide, and I don't know who else all had guides in the '60s, but basically they were the type of guide that you would screw the braid in to the guide flag. The braid was held in with screws versus pushing in 2 slots and then having dimples on the braid to help keep it in guide flag. So Associated was the first to go to the push-in dimple braid system. And Associated did come out with a second guide. And I don't know exactly what year they came out with the original jet guide, but they came out with a second guide, which was, it's known in the older circles as the Stubby guide. Now, I only seen one of those one time. I don't have one, but the blade was different. It was kind of like a Christmas tree, and the thought was that might help keep the car in the slot better. But apparently, it was no better. It didn't work because the Associated Jet guide was the mainstay guide from its release up until the mid '80s when the Starburst guide came out, and the Starburst guide was. I don't know. I mean, it was just wasn't much different than the jet guide, except for it had the angle in the deck for the guide clip to sit back a little bit, and it had the slots in the top of the guide to solder the lead wires down in. And I actually think before that, and I have one here somewhere, and I should have had one of each of these guides to show, but. There was a company called Black Max in Cincinnati, Ohio. They made tires and air control kits and lead wire, and but they actually went out and tooled a guide.
Okay.
The guide was, I believe, in between the jet guide and in between the Starburst guide, and it had the pulled back angled deck area where the guide clips goes in, and that, if I remember right, that blade was a lot thicker than an Associated guide. But that guide flag never really took off. And then Starburst came out with the graphite guide. And, I mean, that was the guide to run for a long time. Starburst guide made both nylon and they made graphite, but the graphite was more popular. So, we ran Starburst or jet guides up until
a long time.
Well, yeah, for 10 years at least, because the Cohoes and the Parma guide came out in like 1997.
And that's the you're talking about the pink one or the black Parma one?
Well, Parma had both. Well, it's the same guide, but they had them in black, quote unquote graphite, and then they had them in pink or colors. Maybe just pink.
I only remember the pink ones.
Okay. Well, the pink one then.
I thought that the pink was a different material.
Yeah, it was nylon, where the black one supposedly has graphite, right? So, and then Cohoes came out with both a nylon guide, and then the graphite version of theirs.
Right.
Now, up to that point, any guide that had been cut down was a regular stock guide, and they'd put it in a mill and they would machine the area, the deck below or next to the post, and they would make that thinner so you have a cut down guide. And then I believe Cohoes was the first to mold a cut down guide to where they didn't have to machine it.
Yeah.
And then so you had Parma and Cohoes was kind of the popular guides there for a few years, and then Slick 7 came out with a guide, and I think then it was pretty much guys were just running either the Cohoes, the Parmas, or the Slick 7s.
Right, Slick 7s broke a lot from what I recall.
Yeah, and Slick 7 on their blade, they had like big round indentations, I guess, for less friction in the slot or something.
Yeah, I think they also had the slanted nose on them too.
Yeah, and there was some differences because it was probably a little bit lighter weight because they had removed a lot of material, like on the deck and stuff.
Right.
And then, up until the Red Fox Guide, the first edition Red Fox Guide came out, and I'm going to say 2007 or 8.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the next guide we had. And then we didn't have anything new.
And that broke a lot too, just like.
Well, yeah.
I mean, throughout all those years, though, I mean, like.
There was a material.
The graphite Parma flag has just like, it's been a great guide flag.
Well, and then the JK guide came out.
Yeah.
In that time frame too. So
I remember the JK flags broke a lot too.
Right. And see the first run of Red Fox guides were definitely molded out of a different material than the second batch that were all black, because I remember we had brand new guides on our cars and we were practicing and we hadn't even come out of the slot and the blades just snapped off of them.
Right. Yeah.
So we quit running those immediately. And then, we at that time we switched over to Parma guides. And because you couldn't get in my opinion, you couldn't get the Red Fox in the original good material. The thing was available was the molded black, which was breaking.
Right.
So we switched to Parma guides at that time. And then, ever since then, we've pretty much been running either Parma or Cohoes. And then I guess the first time I seen the new Goo Goo guide or the Red Fox guide was at the Scale Nats in April at Mid-America. Of course, that's been the talk of the town ever since. And then a couple weeks ago, the HP guides are now the talk of the town. So if you were counting along, which I wasn't, there's been about a dozen different guides.
At least, yeah. And there's been other ones, too, that I think we might have.
Yeah, there's probably a couple others I forgot about.
But they were not really.
Right. I mean,
that's significant, I guess,
Well, a lot of companies, a lot of people think, well, that Cofer guide works pretty well. Well, Cofer's just buying a guide from somewhere else and putting his package. It's not.
Well, and a lot of people are doing that.
Right. Yeah.
Buy a lot of people's guides and they'll have those on them.
Yeah, if you go back to the 70s and 80s, there was probably 20 guys that sold Associated Jet guides. The same guide, just 20 different companies were selling them because it was an item to sell. So
a
lot of guys buy them and bag them and tag them and ship them out the door. So, but there's a lot of people that, especially a newbie, they just think, this Cofer guide or this, out of sight used to package both Starburst and Associated guides. So, a guy will say, oh, that guide's really good. Well, that company don't even make that guide. They just buy it from someone else. So,
right.
Just people don't know that. So, not that makes any difference.
That's a same thing with like gears now too.
Right.
A lot of people sell gears. Like they'll buy Pro Slots or Cohoes or whatever.
Well, it's just like, you can go back the same timeline with gears. I mean, when I started, there was pretty much just either metal Foz gears, and Cayman started making metal gears. But before that, there was like the Cobra gears and the Cox Crown gears, and then I think J.K. or Jerry Coolidge, he might have been the first guy to bring plastic gears in. It was either J.K. or Cofer was the first ones to give us 64 pitch.
I remember Slick 7 had some.
Well, yeah, and then that came later. So Cofer and JK, and then the drilled gear or the metal gears, they started drilling holes in them, and there's been all these variations, and eventually, then Cohoes got Cohoes had gears, Slick 7 had gears, ARP has gears, GT1 had gears, which they were kind of the same company, but they split up at one time.
Yeah.
Parma made their own gears, the old slot sprockets and stuff.
Yeah. Red Fox, eventually, they got into gears.
Red Fox got into gears.
Now S&K makes them. And
S&K makes them.
He makes them. And all kinds of stuff,
Yeah, we've seen a lot of variations in gears, too. So everybody's trying to make the next trick thing. And, it goes back to, I remember, I used to run metal gears and put plastic gears on a car, and I never seen any speed difference or time difference. But both gears were good quality gears. So,
I mean, like every now and then somebody makes something that is an improvement, right? Like,
yeah,
maybe the new Red Fox or HP Flag or whatever. But I mean, in general, it really hasn't improved much, and it's so expensive to make and mold a guide flag or a gear. It's real risky, basically, for somebody to do it just to see if it's gonna be good or not.
And if you come out with it right off the bat and you don't have the right material or something, then it gets a bad name. And even after you fix it, everyone's afraid of it. So, it goes back to what we talked about last week: risk versus reward.
Yeah.
This part may be back to that. Yeah. Well, this part may be a little faster, but then it breaks easier or something. So, who knows? And
I mean, luckily there's people out there with financial abilities to they can invest some money in it and see what happens, and then we get all this cool stuff to try.
Right, but I don't think anyone's probably going to make as much off guide flags as Associated ever did, because they paid for some tooling which was really cheap compared to today's tooling prices in '69 or '70 or whenever they made that. And they ruled the market for, almost 20 years.
If anybody comes close, it's got to be Parma.
Parma would be up, yeah. Parma would be, would be close. Yeah.
But there's just not as many people racing now as there was back then, too. So
Right. And then you got to remember, every ready-to-run car that was made from, 1970 whatever up until probably the late 90s or or mid 90s maybe. They all came with jet guides on them pretty much.
Yeah.
Everybody bought guides from Associated OEM because they were inexpensive. And
how much was a guide flag back then?
Cheapest I remember a guide flag being was like 30 or 35 cents.
Like $6.50 or
now we're up to yeah. Wow. Well, there's still the Parma guides are still what, $279 or $240, $249, $279 or something like that.
They're under $3, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, if we got the inflation calculator out, I don't think the guide flags they're probably priced where they need to be if they kept up with inflation since '70.
Right.
So, and that's the thing too. A guide flag might have only been a quarter in 1970. I just know that in the early and mid 80s, the guide flags were, like I said, 30, 35 cents a piece.
Right.
And then there was threaded and non-threaded. But I think, unthreaded jet guide, no nut, were 30, 35 cents. If you added braid, then you had money. If you added a nut with that and it was threaded, you added some money to that. So,
yeah. Speaking of braid, I heard that maybe there's been some prime braid released too.
It's been out there. I don't know exactly.
I just don't see it for sale hardly anywhere anymore.
Okay.
But I heard the other day that there was a big batch release. So
okay. I've been using it for the last 3 months, and it's stuff that was recently acquired. So it wasn't like it was old stock. I think the new prime braid is a little softer than.
They're also. I know the distributors are limiting how much the track can buy. So there must not be like an unlimited quantity available yet. It must be somewhat limited.
Okay. But yeah, I think the newer prime braid is a little softer. Not a horrible, but it just seems to be a little softer. But it's working fine. So, and I'm sure the same company.
Is the price still the same on it that it used to be 6 months ago? Or
yeah, the last 6 months it's been the same. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. I don't know anything about it being rationed, I guess is the right word to say.
Yeah.
But no, it's still good braid.
Yeah, that's what I prefer. Primer.
And I'm sure, I started to say, I'm sure the same company makes it now was making it back then. So, and then, I mean, but it's, it's braids like Lexan and tire rubber and everything else. I mean, from batch to batch, it's going to vary a little bit. Could be harder, thicker, softer, thinner, something like that. So, yeah.
So, you mentioned the gears. So, there's some people selling gears now that, when I've always bought gears, you just buy a 34 tooth or 35 or 36 or 37, right? And when you want to change your gear,
move your motor.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's some gears out now, and they've been out for a while, but I haven't been able to get any because they're not easily available in the state. But so you can buy like a 35 and a 36, and it's the same overall outer diameter.
Correct.
So you don't have to actually change your motor. So,
correct.
Have you tried those or seen those, or what? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, we had those in the 80s and early 90s, and basically they were made smaller diameter to run, of course, a lower gear ratio, but still have track clearance. And they were basically made a long time ago for Eurosport cars.
Okay.
So like with like any car, if you've got your bearings, bushings, whatever, in a certain in a locked location that you can't adjust, okay? And let's say now, normally we want to run 839 gearing on our car, but being the chassis is this and all this, now the gear will hang below the chassis. The idea was to make all these gears the same size, so they'll have clearance to the track. If you know what I'm saying, you following me?
Right.
Okay.
So explain how that technically, how does that work with? I mean, how can you have more teeth or less teeth but the same overall outer diameter?
Okay, because what you're doing. Okay. See, if I'd known you was going to do this, I could have had some drawings here to show this.
Well, I didn't know I was going to do it. You just,
okay.
That's
fine.
Popped up.
Okay. When you make a gear or design a gear, you've got all these different, you've got a pitch diameter, you've got an outside diameter, you've got pitch depth, tooth angle, tooth pressure, all this stuff you have to put into designing a gear. So when you take, say, a 39 tooth gear, is so big around.
Okay.
And your teeth are so long or so tall.
Deep.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, as you decrease that diameter, you're shrinking the height or the length of the tooth.
Okay.
Because if you keep the same length and move it down to make this smaller, now you're going to have a big lash problem. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So when they make those gears smaller, you've got a weaker tooth because it's not as tall or long. You understand what I'm saying?
So you think the gears that have their own diameter are better than the ones that share the same diameter, is what you're saying?
No, I think gears designed the right diameters with the right root diameter and the OD and the tooth profile and the pressure and all that. That's what you want to run. Because, see, you got to remember, too, as your tooth gets shorter, then you're going to have an engagement problem with the pinion because you're not changing the height or length of your teeth on your pinion.
Okay, so if I said, here, in my left hand, here's two gears. It's a 35 and a 36, they're the same outer diameter.
Yep.
And I say, here in my right hand, I got a 35 and a 36. The 35 is smaller, the 36 is larger.
I'm changing my motor, or moving my motor.
Say, okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay,
yeah, moving my motor.
So you think that's the better way to go?
Yeah. Because if it wasn't, okay, this is not new rocket science. This is stuff that's been out there for years, and we've all, us older racers that, I mean, George Kimber would be a perfect guy to ask about this, you know what I'm saying, because he's dealt with it. I'm going to take the two gears that are made correctly.
Okay.
My motor. Now maybe if I want to test, if I'm going to go somewhere and test, I might use those gears as quick change to see if one tooth makes a difference. Okay, let's say I'm running a 35, I'm going to try a 34. Put 34 on a car, I don't gain nothing. Well, I'll just leave my regular 35 on there.
Right.
But if my 34 picked up, then I would take my motor out and put the right correct 34 on there and then replace the 34.
Right.
But again, most times you don't see much of a difference between one tooth. So if you're going to go from a 36 to a 34, or from a 37 to a 39, or a 38 to a 36, or vice versa,
right,
then I might use those gears, like I said, as quick change. But I don't think anyone makes 34, 35, 36, 37 in the same outer diameter, do they?
No, it's just like one or two will share the same outer diameter. Yeah. So that's kind of one thing that's nice about retro is you don't have to keep heating up your heating up your motor to move it, and moving it to try different gears. You
lost me there. Like, what do you mean? Because you screw the motors in?
Right. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I still solder my motors in. So.
Yeah. Well, even in retro, you still do?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I know. So it seems like, if I recall right at the beginning, basically you either soldered your motor or we use those crappy self-tapping Parma screws, I think was like the main screw.
Right.
And then they would just strip out or
because
they hold and crash, and then everyone kind of went back to soldering, and then somewhere along the line somebody figured out the right screw to use, and now I think the majority of people are.
Well, okay, so basically the screws that Parma sells is like a sheet metal screw. It's a coarse thread, self-tapping screw.
Screw, yeah.
So it really doesn't cut a thread, and the cam material is so thin that you can't really cut a thread in.
Right.
So if you look at the ProSlot FK motors and you look at the FK motors like the RetroHawk Falcon 7, whatever, they actually have a machined threaded thread in the can on the two screws.
The horizontals.
Yeah, horizontals, and the verticals are still self-tappers. Correct. Right. Yeah. So. As far as I know. Yeah, I think so. So
I have to go grab one to look.
Right. So everybody, or I don't know. I shouldn't say everybody. I mean, a majority of people screw their motors in, and there is a claim that your motor screwed in handles better than it being soldered in. But I've taken the same car, screwed the motor in, ran it, soldered the motor in, ran it, and there's no difference. So I still solder my motors in.
Yeah, I mean, coming from flexi racing into retro, I swore by soldering my motor in.
Yeah. Because I've seen guys lose the screws. Screws come loose.
Right.
But I've seen guys get their motors knocked out, soldered in too.
Right.
I mean, you can solder and screw both in if you want.
I'm just saying, that's what's nice about it being inline, or is that.
Okay, and a lot
years without having to heat the magnets up is where I'm getting. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and see another thing too on an inline car, and a retro car, because we run. I mean, basically, you run either, for the most part, we run 27 or 28 tooth gears for the most part. You don't have to. I mean, it's real simple to change the gear. I guess you pull the tire off, loosen the gear, pull the axle out, change your gear. The thing you have to make sure that you keep an eye on is that your pinion is still engaging the teeth.
Right.
Right. So like to go from a 27 to a 28th crown gear, if you got your pinion in the right spot, it's in the right spot for both.
Right.
If you go from a 27 or 28 to maybe a 29, you're probably gonna have to slide your pinion.
Yeah, it's like when I see people at some of the FNRS races, and they go get like a Retro Hawk or whatever, and they cut the pinion shaft. I'm like, why are you cutting the pinion shaft? I mean, the pinion, you use the whole shaft to solder the pinion on. I mean, like I don't know why they do that.
So because I don't pay attention, or I haven't paid attention. If you put a Retro Hawk in your Mazzetti chassis and don't cut the shaft,
you just slide the pinion till
flush to the shaft.
The shaft, right? It's like
okay, so then the pinion doesn't hit the tire or anything.
No.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like some people will take a quarter of the shaft or half the shaft off, and I'm like, why are you giving up all that engagement material? You know?
Right. Well, exactly. I mean, I've taken motors. See, sometimes I might have to trim a shaft on a ProSod FK in my retro car because the shaft's so long it'll hit the set screw unless I have a short.
Right.
Yeah. But if I only have a long set screw and then the shaft hits that, I got to trim the shaft.
Yeah.
But then there's times I'll take a motor out of a retro car and put it in a flexi car, and like you said, the shaft's too short. You know what I mean?
Well, if you just let it hit the set screw enough, it'll just wear down. You'll be all right.
Eventually it will.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that is kind of one thing that maybe for some of our newer racers, right, is some people, a lot of people have a hard time soldering. And it seems like soldering pinions is like one of the hardest things for new people to do, right?
And you know what? And I'm going to be doing a how-to on that here pretty soon.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't get into that then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is easy to do, but it's only easy after you learn. Right. But after you learn how to do it, yeah.
It's like body mounting, and yes, I'm going to do a body mounting video.
Yeah.
But,
well, let's see. I'm taking bets we'll have episode 20 done before you do that video.
What episode is this? 16?
16, so that's 4 weeks.
I don't know.
4 weeks.
All right. Well, but anyway, but that's another thing that's intimidating to new people, but it's like once you learn it, it's not,
Well, it's the same deal with soldering a motor and a chassis. I mean,
yeah.
I remember the first time.
Man, I see people, dude, they solder motors in like that blows me away. Like that's one of the fun things about doing tech, right? Is you see how everybody does everything. And I don't understand some of the stuff I see.
Right. It works.
Because they get lucky.
Sometimes it don't, but yeah, I know.
It's like I can't tell you how many people bring me a flexi car who only solder the motor in on the bushing end of the can. It's like I'm like, well, don't you want to like put the brace in? It comes with the chassis for a reason. Right. No, we don't need that.
Yeah, you need it. You don't need it until you hit the wall really hard.
Yeah, I'm like, but that's one of the biggest things that really surprised me. How many people only solder the motor in on one spot?
Well, is it done on purpose or they forget to do it?
I don't know, because when someone brings the car to tech and I'm doing that part of it, right?
Right.
So I always say, hey, are you sure you don't want to go solder this motor and then bring the car back? Because you never know, right? If somebody did forget about it or not forget about it, and most of the time it's a newer racer or somebody who hasn't raced in our series before, and they say, oh, you think that makes a difference? And I'll say, yeah, I would do it just to be safe. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
Because that's another thing. There's a lot of people. Sometimes it's tricky putting that brace in the right spot if you've never done it before. If you just go buy the car off the wall and you're pretty new, that's
wait a minute.
Not the easiest thing to figure out. Sometimes.
Did you not watch the video, the how-to video I did on the?
Yeah, I saw that, but I'm just saying.
I showed how to put it in.
Right. I know, but I'm just saying if you're like a.
Yeah, I guess yeah. If you don't, yeah. Right, if you don't know any better.
If you're a newer racer, that's another one of the things, along with soldering on a pinion. That can be kind of tricky. You know what I mean?
Right. And so that's another, how-to video. Gear mesh, pinions, soldering.
Yeah, right. Gear mesh will be.
That's all coming up.
Yeah.
That's
a good one to do for sure.
That's been in the mailbox.
Okay.
So
speaking of
this week, I'll get it done.
Speaking of mailboxes.
Uh-oh.
We need to find 2 lucky people that are going to get a prize pack in their mailbox.
Okay, so
tell us what we have in the prize pack.
What the lucky winner will receive is some Mid-America Lane stickers.
10 pairs.
10 sheets.
10 sheets is what I mean. Yeah.
a body harpoon tool, which you use this to poke the holes when you're mounting your body.
And that's a new product, I believe.
It's a new product from Mid-America in a paste flux tube that you
paste flux in a tube.
Yeah, there you go. And you trim the tip off, and you
right.
And I talked about this in the how-to video. So
right,
and all from Mid-America.
Okay.
So the lucky winners.
Two people will win.
We'll contact Roger. We'll let Roger know who the winners were.
Yep.
And he will mail the.
Do not contact us. We are not shipping anything to you. This is Roger at Mid-America.
Okay. Roger at Mid-America. And
but you can contact us if you have complaints. Then you contact Ron. But anyway, go ahead.
And Ron's email address is ralphthorne at.
Yeah, that's it.
So we have our.
Bucket.
All of our viewers, or most of our viewers, pretty much every viewer that's liked the page or became a follower on YouTube. All right, so our first winner will be one winner, please, Ron. Thomas Wyman, who lives in, I know this guy, he lives in Fort Wayne.
Okay.
So Tom Wyman. That's a guy that goes back 30 years with me or so. Digging deep now, down to the bottom. One more. Dave Gardner.
Dave Gardner, Mark's Model World.
Mark's Model World.
Cool.
So they are the lucky winners. Dave.
All right. Again, contact Roger at Mid-America. Let him know you won the prize pack on the Between the Lanes show, and he'll get it shipped out to you.
Yes, he will. He ships daily.
All right. What else you got? Anything?
And not that this is a plug or anything, but, Roger should have those new HP guides. If he doesn't have them today, Wednesday, or he'll probably have them Friday after the holiday, after Thanksgiving Day. So,
okay.
All I can say is, just watch the Mid-America Facebook page, and he'll be blasting, I'm sure, when he has them in stock.
I'm sure, yes.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
So before we go, we got a couple minutes left here. Do you want to share your world famous hot dog story?
Yeah, I guess I can.
Okay, yeah, because I think some people saw it, but they might not recognize like the story behind the hot dog place or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Okay. Because we put a blurb up on the Between the Lanes page, and so anyway, last weekend I'm in Fremont, Ohio, and not too far from Toledo, Ohio, and Toledo is home of Tony Paco's hot dogs. Or basically, we went to the Tony Paco's Original Cafe. Uncle Bob Dempsey took me there.
How many different restaurants they have? Do you know?
I believe they have 5.
And they're all in
the Toledo area. But where we went was the original Tony Paco's. And you know what? Somewhere here, I know I got it here. I just got to find it, and I wasn't prepared for this.
Actually, you know what? They showed up a taco place. They could have called it Paco's Tacos.
Okay. I think there is a Paco's Tacos out there in the world somewhere.
Okay,
but that's not got anything to do with them.
All right.
So, Tony Paco's has 5 locations in the Toledo area. The original Tony Paco's is where we went. It opened in 1932.
Is it close to the Five Stripes Raceway?
Oh, no, we're like 40 minutes away because,
okay,
Toledo, Fremont's over here,
okay.
40 minutes away. So, anyway, Bob came to the Raceway Friday night, and he's like, you're going to go back, stay with me. I'm going to take you somewhere special to eat. Okay, so he says, I'm taking you down to Tony Paco's. So Rob Bosca jokingly said, well, while you're there, make sure he signs a hot dog bun. I'm like, I don't even know what these guys are talking about, basically. So we go to Paco's, and Bob's dad used to take Bob there when he was a little boy. So, I mean, it was kind of a sentimental return for Bob to go back to, because I don't know when the last time Bob was in there. So, and I knew that Paco's was famous for hot dog buns signed or something. Like a lot of celebrities would go there. And I was thinking that celebrities would sign maybe an 8x10 photograph, and they hang them on the wall everywhere. Like, these are all the celebrities that have visited, this place.
Right.
So we get there. It's 10 o'clock. It's not too busy. I didn't realize they have like a full bar in there. But anyway, it's pretty much a restaurant. But we sit down, and I mean, on the walls everywhere, there's all these signed hot dog buns. And the waitress takes order, and she says, well, while you're waiting for your food, you can walk around.
And hold on, let me pause you, because I saw the picture. Because when you told me, I'm like, well, how are hot dog buns just on the wall, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they got this housing.
Yes.
With this clear bubble.
Yep.
And the buns fit in the bubbles, so you can, it's just like rows of signed buns. And
I think there's anywhere from, and they've probably changed this over the years. I've seen the mounts with 6 or 8 buns in them, 2 rows of whatever, up to maybe 12 buns, and they're everywhere. I mean, they're.
And now, it can't be real bread, right? So. Okay,
so I'm getting to that, Ralph.
Okay, all right.
So anyway, she says you can go around and look at the buns. All right. Well, we go around, we're looking, and there's like George Bush, and there's just some of the ones I remember seeing. George, I think of George Voinovich, who was the governor of Ohio. Our Vice President Pence, who he went there when they were campaigning, and he signed a bun, and he actually kind of was a waiter during his visit.
Okay.
Burt Reynolds. There's just all these names, and John Glenn, the famous astronaut. He's got a sign, but he was a politician at one time from Ohio.
On a side note, Burt Reynolds used to live down the street from me. But go ahead.
Okay, cool. So, see, it's a small world. See how we're all connected here. So anyway, so we go and we look around, and we go in the gift shop for a gift shop, which is all the stuff you can buy. So we go back, and they bring us our appetizer, and we're sitting there, and then she comes out with the food, and I think that's when Bob said, hey, this guy's a famous slot car racer. He's a world and national champion. You should have him sign a bun. And she's like, well, I'd have to talk to my manager and da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, fine. So all
right, whatever.
Yeah, no bun or anything yet. So we finished eating, and then the manager comes out, and she comes over and said, I hear there's a world and national champion here at this table or something. And Bob says, yeah, he's a world and national champion slot car racer. And she doesn't have any clue what that is. So, Bob's telling her, he goes all around the country. He's been all around the world, da-da-da-da-da. And she's just kind of like, okay. And she says, well, we'd have to Google it to find out, before. Okay, so off she goes, so, okay. So, I don't know, 5 minutes later, she comes out of the back, and she says, here's a bun, here's a Sharpie. She goes, we Googled slot car racing, and, we found you, and, signed the bun. So, okay. So the bun is not a bun. The bun is a foam rubber is the best way I can describe it. Looks just like a bun, but they're like a foam rubber.
Okay.
So I just wrote on there, and then the waitress came back, and she says, yeah, we didn't even know what slot racing was. She goes, man, it's really cool. We Googled it. We was looking at some pictures and videos, and so then I showed her the video that I had taken at Fast Tracks earlier of the Friday night IndyCar race, which I also put a link on the Between the Lanes Facebook page. And she sat down there and was, it was just a 2-minute clip, and I was just explaining how things work and stuff, and she thought it was really cool. And I don't know if we'll get another slot car racer out of it, but she knows where it's at.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool because the Tony Pacos, whoever runs their social media site for the restaurant or the company, they actually liked our Between the Lanes page, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, they liked it, and they also they gave a love like.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty post.
Cool. And then Uncle Bob was in there again yesterday, which would be Tuesday, and they want some more information from me. So I don't know what they're and Bob said they even wanted us to post stuff to their page. So
okay,
find out more about that. So
is your bun on the wall yet, though?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know how many times.
Do you know where it's going to go, or anything?
No idea. No idea. I figure they probably have this barrel in the back corner, and they throw the buns on there. And after they get so many, they say, "Okay, we need so many display things." And they
unless it's like Mike Pence or somebody, pretty important,
Right. So
So my bun's in the mail then, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Maybe I'll get an invite to come up and cut a ribbon or something when they hang it on the wall. But no. But then at their other locations, they have the same thing. So famous people that go to those locations, then they hang them.
So you should try to go to every location, and now you can say, "Hey, I'm on the wall. The other one, I should be on the wall here."
Yeah. Okay.
You should be on. You could be at every location.
And I asked the manager. I said, "Well, do you not have a list of everyone who signed a bun, like on a website?" Or she said, "Well, we have a list in the gift shop. It's like a handwritten list, or maybe typed out." She goes, "I don't think it's up to date. There's probably some people missing." And I'm thinking, well, 5 different locations. It might be hard to keep one list at one location and keep track of everybody. But I told her, I said, well, someday you need to put someone to work and make a master list and post it. But, she said, a couple years ago, REO Speedwagon came through and all the guys signed buns, and all the guys from Aerosmith has signed buns. And so I don't know what other rock and roll people are in there. And, there's probably some real race car drivers in there. But,
right.
It was kind of an honor to I mean, that and $1 won't even get you a cup of coffee, but it was just kind of cool. I mean,
right.
It was something fun. Bob got a big kick out of it, and so it was just fun. And Tacos, they was amazed at how many likes and comments that we got about it on the Between the Lanes page, and they were really shocked at how many people around the world, actually looked at it, liked it, or made it. So. Right. Yeah. So, and how the whole bun thing started was Tony Paco's daughter was a big fan of Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds was in Toledo to do a play. Of course, this was before he got big in the movies, So, right. That was before Deliverance, and it was before Smokey and the Bandit. So anyway, they went down there and convinced him to come back to the restaurant, and then they took pictures and everything. And, I don't know if they said, here, we want you to sign this napkin. Anyway, he wound up signing a bun, and that's what started the whole tradition. So now I'm sure his is an original bun.
He's probably signed a rubber one since then, would be my guess.
Who knows if he's went back. But I'm sure he signed a honest-to-God hot dog bun. And Paco's is unique. It's not really a hot dog. It's some kind of Tony Paco's a Hungarian. It's in a old Hungarian neighborhood, the original location, and it's a sausage, some type of Hungarian sausage that's served as a hot dog. Right. But it was very good, and I'm not a big sausage eater, but it was very good. It was just a great experience, a lot of fun, and an honor to sign the bun.
Okay. So what would the secret word of the show be?
Let's just go with Pacos.
Okay. Packos, as in Pacos.
Yeah, Pacos. I'm probably saying it wrong. Maybe it's Pacos. I don't know. Everybody says it different. But if you're ever in the Toledo area, hit up one of the 5 locations.
in demand to see Ron Hirschman's bun.
Well, you'd probably have to go to the original location to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't, maybe they'll move it out to different. I don't know how they do that. I didn't ask questions.
Okay.
I just did what they told me to do.
All right. We got anything else this week?
No, well, we got some races coming up this weekend, the holiday weekend.
Okay. What do we got?
Okay, you've got.
We got the Texas two-step.
Got the Texas two-step, Dallas Slot Cars, in Garland, Texas. That's a retro race, and there's also she's having some drag racing along this weekend. I don't know if there are any big drag races, but she'll probably have a decent turnout because it's holiday weekend. Mm-hmm. AWRA is at VT Raceway in California. There's the ISRA Eurosport Racing at Speed Zone, New Jersey in Mount Holly. You've got the Turkey Bash Wing Car Race at TriState Raceway in Middletown, Ohio. And then at Tennessee Top Slots is the Fall 500 Hard Body Race.
Okay.
And then you have the Turkey Classic Drag Race at Hot Slots in Lewisburg, Tennessee.
Okay. A lot of drag racing.
And anybody can go on Facebook and look these places up and find out more information if you're looking to go race.
Right.
And then December 2nd, we got NorCal Slot Car Racing Association. We got the FNRS Midwest Championship race at HMS in Bellevue, Ohio. And I'll have more next week, but December 10th is the Ohio Oval Series at Fast Tracks in Fremont, Ohio. So,
okay.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of races seems going on December 2nd, but
no, right. Well, yeah, but there's a good amount for sure.
I'm sure there's more. I just haven't looked yet.
Because there's a lot of I know there's a big drag race December 3rd, 2 weeks. At Fast Eddie's slot cars and raceway down at Pinellas Park. Yeah, he's having a big drag race down there.
Okay. Well, I know the Santa shootout.
Did you mention the FNRS race?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know the Santa showdown or Santa
showdown and Bullet's
coming up. So yeah, there's some stuff coming up. We'll have a full list next week. So
yep.
So that's all I got. Eat more turkey this weekend. Everybody be sick of turkey.
Turkey and ham. Yeah.
No ham. Turkey.
So, all right.
Well,
thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
Next week, everyone have a safe and pleasant holiday weekend. Goodbye.